So gutter is just sitting up there until I get home from work today, and then I can tack it up. I'll put these guys' info in the description. This was just what they call a chop and drop. So they basically measure, make the gutter, cut it, and then drop it. They also do installs, of course, so their information will be in the description below. So that's their information. Ken is the owner, and then Greg, and I'm not sure what the other guy's name was. But I will also put the info down below. But yeah, they did good work, very quick. Now I have a nice gutter and I can get my water hooked up and start catching all that rain. All right, so back home from work, and this gutter is just about installed. I gotta put one more bracket up there. Just gotta grab my taller ladder and then connect the piping. Luckily I had one piece that was long enough, old piece of Schedule 40, because the piece that was left over from when I was building all of this was not quite long enough. So I just got to clean it up a little bit and then get everything glued together and go from the downspout drain over to my first flush. All right, there we go. Installed. Now we can start collecting some rain off of this roof. Our catchment tank is pretty much always overflowing anyway, but eventually the one from the house I'm going to take down just because this roof is so bad. It'll get replaced one day, but just not right now. What, Hati? Are you a good boy? Good morning, guys. So, again, it's been a while since I made a video. I'm just so busy lately, trying to get videos made and like getting stuff done. So in this video, I guess in the opening of the video you saw, I got rain gutter made and put on the shop, so that's all done. This video I'm going to get started on installing my circuit breaker box, which is going to go over here, that mess of wires, so I'm gonna have to start getting that sorted out. I'm also gonna be installing a disconnect box on the outside, which is where the generator will plug in. I'll show all that stuff in a minute, but that's basically what this video is going to be. I don't know if I'll get everything in this video, but I'll try and get in as much as I can. And I still do have to run wiring to the office upstairs and also to the CNC room. So that's a lot. I don't know if I'll get it all in this video, but I'm going to try and focus on the circuit breaker panel. All right, so this is the disconnect box I was talking about. And basically what this is just for the plug that's going to come from the generator to basically power the shop. So this is going to be what is going to plug directly into the circuit breaker panel. So this essentially is the connection that would be the same as if you had you know, service to your house from the electric company. The wires come down, they go into a disconnect, which goes into a meter and then into a circuit breaker panel. So that's going to get mounted on the outside. This little thing is going to be for my air compressor. This is just going to be to turn the power on and off for the air compressor, and this is going to get mounted somewhere near the circuit breaker box. I have my 6-gauge wire that's going to run from the circuit breaker to the disconnect. So that's going to be for powering from the generator in. And then I also have this big heavy-duty plug. So this is a generator plug basically. So it has the plug that goes in there to the generator, and then this is the plug that goes into the box I just showed you. So that's what I'm going to use to connect the generator to the system. I have my panel here, which I'm about to open up. That is going to get mounted into the wall over here. So this mess is going to have to get organized. But before I start that, I'm actually going to get started on, let me move this chair, getting the disconnect mounted. It's going to be on the outside of the wall from this base. So you see where the door is. It's going to be just over from that and probably about, I don't know, 2 to 3 feet off the ground, whatever height it ends up being, to be pretty much in the middle of this bay. So I'm going to have to put in a 2x6 piece of blocking in here to screw the box into from the outside, and then drill a hole so the wire can come through. Then it will run up to where the breaker panel is and tie into that. Also, an update from the last video, I did get my camera installed out here. So what the issue was that I had bought a 4K camera and my DVR is only a 1080 DVR, so it wasn't compatible. So basically I just got the right camera, plugged it in, and everything worked fine. All right, so I got that exterior disconnect box mounted. It's coming through right here. I have the line running up through the hole. I've cleaned up, well, I didn't clean up, I just kind of moved everything out of the way. So I'm sure there's a set height that circuit breaker panels are supposed to be. I'm not sure what that is. This is not a permitted building, so I'm just matching what was in my house, which my house is permitted. And the breaker panel in there was about 52 inches from the floor. So I basically marked 52 inches on both sides here, just so I can see where it is. And since my walls are 2x6 walls, I'm going to have to actually put some 2x4s back here to mount the box to, because the breaker panel box is made for a 2x4 wall. So my wall is essentially, 2 inches too big. So I need to fur that out to give a spot to mount the box to. So that's what I'm going to work on now, and then see if I can get the box in here. So let me go ahead and pull this out. And I apologize if it's dark. I have all the lights and everything unplugged right now, so. So this is my breaker box, and this possibly could be quite a bit larger than what I need, but I always want to be prepared for whatever I might need to install. I need to grab a bit to open that up, or I guess I can just use this. One of those weird square bits. Okay, so inside the door is where all of the panel slots are. And then this is the main. So my cord that I'm running from the generator is going to come in, and it's going to attach here. So these are your main two lines coming in. So typically if you have 220 power, let's say, coming into your house, you have, or it's 240, so you have 120 and 120. So the majority of your breakers are going to be 120 for lights, outlets, whatever. And then if you have something that is 220 power, it basically will be a breaker that will cross over two of these circuits, and then that's where you get your 220 power from. So that's the box. I'm going to have to, like I said, get this mounted up. I'm going to have to punch a hole in to bring the big wire in. So this is the top of the box. So I'm basically going to run it behind, and then it's going to come in from the top and then just connect right into here. Again, let me emphasize, I am not a licensed electrician. I don't do electrical work as a trade. I have just been around electrical work. I'm comfortable doing it. I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing. But of course, if you're not comfortable with electrical, then you need to hire someone who is, that can do it for you. And if you're doing a permitted house, you have to have a licensed electrician actually do all your electrical stuff for you. So, I'm not a professional. All right, so I have my brace supports put in here, and I basically measured about 2.5 inches out, and I'm taking into consideration spacing the box about a 1/2 inch out. So when I have my finished wall here, which is going to be pallet wood, it'll give me a little bit of space so that I'm able to fit on the cover nice and snug. So these are secured in, screwed there. I have my incoming power line running behind there because that's going to feed into the top of the panel. So I'm ready to put the panel in now. All right, so I made it to the store today, Home Depot. I'm going to take a break from the breaker panel. For a few minutes, and I'm gonna put in the drain for my sink. So you saw before I had the sink in here. Now you can see behind the PEX line how it comes through the mount valve, screws into the sink. So I'm going to put the drain line in here, and then there will be a vent. It's going to run up. Drain line's going to go straight out. This is the corner of the shop here, so it's going to go straight out and then drop down and then go out. And it's basically just going to go, excuse me. It's basically just going to go into the bushes. This is going to be like a gray water drain. There's not going to be anything going into this that's, I'm not going to be like dumping paint and chemicals and shit down the drain here. Stuff. I meant to say stuff. So anyway, I'm going to get that set up and get it knocked out real quick, and then I'll get back to the electrical panel. All right, so that is done. So basically what I did here, this is the connection for a 1.5 inch drain line. Basically the part that comes from the bottom of the sink, which is there, the P-trap, all of that part. So that line that's basically sticking out towards me is what's going to plug into this right here. It's just a sweeping 90 out of the shop. I'll go out and show you the outside here in a minute. And then this is basically a T. I didn't really show the parts, I know that, but if you see, it's a sweeping T there, and then a line straight up, and then that's the vent. So pretty simple, pretty easy to do. Putting ABS together is really easy. You just use the black ABS glue, goop it on there, put the pieces together, do at least a half turn on them just to make sure you got full contact, and then it's done. So now it's just a matter of just, like I said, moving the sink in place, plugging it in. You tighten these fittings down. There's little like plastic lips in here. So as you tighten this down, once the pipe is in there, it actually creates a watertight seal. So that's it. Let me go show you what's on the outside. All right, so here we are on the back side of my shop. Still not painted, and I still don't have all the siding on, but anyway, so that's another sweeping 90 coming out, going down to another 90, and then just into the bushes about 4 feet away from the building. So as you can see, there's already kind of a rut sort of channel here. So yeah, that's it. And like I said, this is just going to be like a gray water drain. So there's nothing going to be going in here that's too harsh. Okay, it's raining pretty hard. So nice to be in a shop with a roof. So I got this area all cleaned up and all buttoned up, so I'm ready to plug the sink back in and get that on, because I really need to wash my hands. I hate working with fiberglass. That rock wool isn't bad, but it still makes you a little itchy. So let me get the sink buttoned up. And there we go. This one thing, just being able to wash your hands, is like one of the greatest things you can have in your shop. All right. And then just to show you the water's running, there's a little bit better look. If I can hold the phone on the right angle, so you can see everything's plugged in, nothing's leaking, so that's good. All right, so back to the breaker panel. So I have my ground here terminated. This is the ground that's running down outside. It goes into my concrete slab and onto the rebar loop. That's how I'm grounding it, rather than trying to drive a grounding rod into rock, which does not seem fun. That's another method you can use. So what I'm going to work on now is bringing my power from the generator coming in. Normally your main power is going to come in from the top. I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm actually going to bring it through I think this hole here, and I got this this 90-degree adapter, so the cable will go in there. I'll clamp it down, it'll get pushed through from the back, and then it has a nut on here that holds it in tight. So that'll get mounted on the back side. The wires will come through, they'll be protected, and they'll be secure. So let me get that going, and then we'll get the incoming power tied into here. All right, so I have the cable coming from the generator disconnect. Now everything's terminated in here. And then, as I said before, since this is going to be the red wire, I put red electrical tape on it, and you do that on both ends. So it's on this end and it's on the end that's inside the generator disconnect. Typically when panels are wired up like this, it's black, red, white is the layout. So yeah. Now what I'm going to start doing is the wires that are coming in, which these are all called home runs. Typically you have a home run going to each room for lights and for outlets. Sometimes they will run the light and outlets all on the same home run, and then sometimes you run them, separate. For me, I'm kind of overdoing it. I'm running a separate home run for every set of lights and for every about 3 plugs, basically 3 sets of outlets. So I have a lot of extra home runs, so overdoing it as usual. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting these set up and pulled through. There's some little clips, which are these right here. So these little clips snap into the top, and then you can tighten down and secure the wire. So basically what you do is there's all these little circles in here. So you pop those out, and then some of them are multi-hold. So like this large one, let's say, you could do this is probably like a 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 2 inch, 3 inch, and then whatever size you need, you pop that one out and then you use the hole. So that's how these work. I'm going to start popping some of these out and getting some of the wires run in. Okay, so I have these pulled through. Right now I only have 5 wires actually pulled through. I have to get some bigger feed-through clips for this wire because it's not going to fit in the 3/8, so I'll probably have to go to this next bigger size here for that. And then of course I'm going to end up having 2 more of these wires, because I'll have, this is for the 50-ton press, and then I will also have for the air compressor and the CNC router. So there will be 3 sets of that 10-gauge wire. I did look up the general rules for placement of a breaker panel. So the general rule is it has to be above 4 feet and it cannot be higher than 6 feet. So yeah, you have like a window in there. So generally it's usually between around 5 feet, I guess, for the center. So yeah, I think the top of this is probably just over 6 feet. So where all the breakers are below 6 feet. Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strip these wires. This is an important step. You need to make sure that you transfer all of your labels properly so that you know what you're plugging into what. You want to make these long enough that they could reach anywhere in here. So I will probably end up cutting these, maybe about a couple inches longer than this, stripping the yellow jacket off, and it will reveal the 3 wires on the inside, which will be a black, white, and a copper. So I'm going to go ahead and get all those stripped, kind of get everything loosely routed. And all of these clamps I'm not putting in tight yet because I still have several more wires that are going to be coming in here. And I have a lot of wires right now that are just connected to plugs so that I can have lights and whatnot going to the extension cord. So there's going to be more wires that will be going in here eventually. Right now it looks pretty light, but it's getting there. All right, well, that was pretty quick. Like I said, it's just 5 wires for now. When you are stripping the shielding off of these, if you run the razor blade down the middle, and you want to keep it pretty shallow, just enough to cut through here, but the middle is where the copper is, and there's no shielding on the copper. So you don't want to run it on the side and then cut into the shielding on your black or white wire, because then you're going to have a problem. So especially if you don't find it and later on down the road it somehow shorts or arcs through there, then you can have a problem. So you want to be very careful when you're stripping the shielding to go in the middle, and to keep the razor blade, like I said, very light. You use just the corner of it to cut through. So I have all this done. You see I transferred all my labels, exhaust fan, MES storage, grinder room outlets. So that is where I'm at now. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and then as I get some more wiring done and continue with this, then I will continue with another video. All right guys, well, like I said, I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Trying to get videos out. I know it's been like a few weeks since the last one. If this posts on Friday, it'll probably actually be a month since the last one, but I'm getting them as fast as I can. Thanks for watching. I will put out some more when I get some more. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Aloha.